And here we are with the Top 40 video show, or what do we call it? The radio...
Top 40 timeline.
Top 40 timeline, yeah.
Ding,
Ding, ding. And we don't have any...
Lee's going to have to read some of these, because I got stuff in here I'll bet he doesn't know. Yeah. Both weeks now.
That's right.
He's missing out.
And I get to hang out with two sexy gals for about half an hour.
Yeah, but
That's
I get to
cool.
play a lot of good tunes. So.
Yeah, and Lee's out of here now because he's done our local show and he's a busy guy. And he's a drummer and it's jam. Like
jam night.
All week long.
Last jam of the season.
If I would say one thing about...
Wait, come in for a minute.
I'd say,
before
you don't have to stand over there.
So we
You're
can
not
hear
shy,
you and see you.
There's Lee right here.
Yeah, he's shy.
If I have to say one thing about this guy is...
Shyest guy you'll ever meet.
Radio's number 2 in his
and I'm Queen Victoria.
In his life, but number 1 is music, I think, and playing it, right?
Yeah.
And there's nothing like that. So you have a wonderful time at
There's a funny looking thing
We've
on
got
your head
some people coming in from a good distance, so that's why I've got to book out of here today. But it's the last jam of the season, and we're looking forward to it. And we want to thank everybody for joining us that did all throughout the summer at Lee's Garage. We had a lot of fun, including these guys. We had a ton of fun with these guys too. And of course, they're going to bring you the best in Leah's trivia. So
rock and roll trivia, baby.
Thanks everybody. Have a great weekend and peace out, man.
That's right. And we're brought to you this week by Radio 425 in Windsor, Ontario, the Motor City. And
catch you on the flip side.
Our shows are heard there on the weekends. The Top 40 Timeline Radio Show, which is what I do, and the Big 20, which is a show I produce. With all the freshest new music going on as we hide things here and lighters and stuff. And stop touching me. And,
who else's phone would that be?
Yeah, that's right.
The only one that you're sitting here as you're talking.
Yeah, is she staring at her phone?
We're not telling you who, but she's got a new boyfriend, all that puppy love.
You know, there might be a message she doesn't want to miss that. Yeah, but what about before he came along?
Yeah, but
that's a whole other story.
Too. That was all. My work is in there too. So hey,
she's just one of those phone gals.
Yep, I will admit it. Fully admit it.
Paul
the
McCartney.
Phone is connected.
Paul McCartney kicks us off this week. He told Santa Monica radio station KCRW that it's not really about a blackbird whose wings are broken. You know, it's a bit more symbolic. The highlight from the McCartney songbook. And written at his kitchen table in Scotland, Sir Paul penned Blackbird about the American Civil Rights Movement, drawing inspiration from the racial desegregation of the Little Rock, Arkansas school system. Put succinctly by U.S. Today, Paul McCartney penned Blackbird about the black struggle. In a 2008 interview with Mojo, McCartney elaborated on how enamored the Beatles were at the civil rights movement happening across the pond. I got the idea of using a blackbird as a symbol for a black person. It wasn't necessarily a black bird, but it works that way as much as then you call girls birds, and they do in the UK. Mm-hmm. It wasn't exactly a big ditty, because I have no idea how to say
ornithology.
That. Okay. One of those. It was purely symbolic. Oh, we have too much fun here, don't we? All right. Stop talking about Lee. He came back in the room here. He's back in the house.
He's just checking on us.
There he forgot his pop. All right.
All right, so I'll read the next 2 or 3. The Isle of Wight Festival started in 1968 because the local swimming pool association wanted to raise funds. Wow. Did you know that's how it began?
No.
That's how it became a thing.
I have a friend, Ronnie. You met Ronnie at the radio reunion. Ronnie Young. She was at the Isle of Wight Festival in 1970.
Oh, lucky her.
And there's a picture of her somewhere in the archives somewhere of her with her, and she looked like the trendy gal of the 60s. That she's a gorgeous gal.
A flower girl.
A flower girl.
I could see her as a flower girl, most definitely.
And she was at that, and she said that was just mind-blowing, that weekend at the Isle of Wight Festival.
Oh, it would be.
Yeah.
So, next we got Brian Jones, co-founder of the Rolling Stones, was proficient at over 60 musical instruments.
Wow.
Did you know that?
Well, there's a clever man.
And there's pictures of him with all kinds of different instruments. It was really cool. And I'll do one more, and you can do the big one. Oh, wow. 1972, Creedence Clearwater Revival split up following the failure of their most recent album, Mardi Gras. After limited success as a solo act and some legal hassles with Fantasy Records, John Fogerty would have 2 big hits in 1985, Centerfield and Rock and Roll Girls. John's brother Tom Fogerty died in September 1990, and the surviving members have been touring as Creedence Clearwater Revisited.
There's nothing like cranking the radio up when you're out in the country driving and putting the CCR greatest hits on or something, you know? Just great driving music.
Oh, yeah.
Great driving music.
Oh, yeah. You got the big one.
Oh, I noticed. Okay.
You want me to do that one? Okay. Rick Dees.
It's a good one.
Do you even remember Rick Dees?
1976. Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was a year old.
He's a
I was going to say, I don't think Rick Dees would be a big one for her.
Yeah.
You're talking 80s,
Okay.
90s.
Yes.
All right.
90s, 2000s, you know? Okay, in 1976, disc jockey Rick Dees hits number 1 in the U.S. with Disco Duck.
Disco.
A goofy number that envisions Donald Duck enjoying the spoils of the disco era. It is the last novelty song to top the Hot 100. Dees established himself as a popular comic DJ while working at WMPS AM 680, the Great 68 in Memphis, Tennessee, responding to
The disco craze.
the disco craze. He wrote and recorded the novelty song Disco Duck, featuring a Donald-like duck voice done by a guy Dees met at the gym.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Released on the local label Freetone, the song got enough attention in the South to earn a distribution deal with RSO, which promoted it nationally. Dee, though, couldn't play it on the air because management considered it a conflict of interest.
Isn't that awesome? I
On
didn't
a-
know that either.
Yeah, on October 11th, 1976, he was fired for merely talking about it on his show. 5 days later, the song goes to number 1, combining funky style disco heats with the rhythmic quacking. Disco Duck tells the story of a man at a disco who tries his luck with a duck dance. It catches on, and soon everyone is doing it. Breaks in the song have Donald Duck's voice jabbering encouragement. Disco is clearly on the rise, but its days are numbered. Disco Demolition Night is just 3 years away.
And in
Sorry. We needed Lee here for that. He does a good Donald Duck.
does he?
Yes, he does.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I can't do it.
No, I
Are
can't.
you
Never
sure
tried.
we're at the right place? Because it doesn't look like it.
Yes, we are.
Oh, Chuck Berry aspired to be a professional photographer and only performed music to buy photography equipment.
Okay, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
It's okay. We already read them. We won't
were
do it
jumping.
again.
Yeah, Apple.
You see, you can't. See, I'm just getting used to his mouse. You can't use this. It jumps a whole page.
Mm-hmm.
So I apologize.
In 2003, Apple launches a Windows version of the iTunes Store, previously available only on Macs. And I was going to say Mars there for a minute, but my eyes are...
All of us need our glasses today,
right.
apparently.
Yep,
And
I
I'll
think
do
so.
that. I'll
Do
do
the
this
next
one
one.
here. Another song whose meaning was obscured by its party anthem vibes. The Calypso light tune featured a delightful and then annoying, ubiquitous call and response question that never got answered. Asking who let the dogs out became low-hanging comedy fruit after the song's release in 2000, which meant most people missed it and was a man-bashing song. Songwriters Anselm Douglas said in an interview with Rock Seller magazine that it is a song about a good time being ruined by men catcalling and harassing women. Everyone's having a great time, yippee-yi-yo, and then jerks starts treating women like objects, and it ruins everything, woof, woof, woof. And the video for Baha Men's cover of Douglas's song featured a ton of literal dogs escaping past a yard at a doggy daycare. Future...
Devastating.
yeah, you've got all the big words this week, don't you?
And I'm leaving them all with Big Daddy.
Yeah, right there. And all
you
I
can
can
take
say
'em.
is yippee-i-o to that one. But I had no idea that was about the problems that women have with...
See, I knew about that one. The one that got me was the Blackbird. I had no idea. I was thinking like everybody, Blackbird. It's all about a bird and, just a friendly song.
I just thought it was about early in the morning in England. I remember growing up and hearing the Blackbird singing. And that song always takes me back to when I was a child because of the Blackbird sound effect in the background.
Right.
McCartney. It's a beautiful song. I mean, they work some
Oh, it is a beautiful.
fantastic
That was
songs,
one of my favorites when I was younger with the Beatles.
All right.
Okay, so this is meant to be mine. Zeppelin
Of course.
came up with the title Black Dog after a large black Labrador walked into the studio while recording. Did you know that?
No,
Yeah.
Wow.
I had no idea. About
That's how they
one
titled
either.
that song.
Where do you get this stuff from?
I don't know where she finds it.
1919, the Radio Corporation of America, soon to be simply known as RCA, is founded by General Electric as a publicly held monopoly, much the same way the phone company was originally envisioned. 1940, Frank Sinatra hosts the weekly radio program Fame and Fortune, which gives amateur songwriters the chance to compete for $100 and a publishing deal with NBC Music. I'll do this one just before I hand you over a nice big one again. The Drifters, Save the Last Dance for Me, hits #1 in America for the first of 3 weeks. Doc Pumice wrote the lyric about his wedding day when he watched his bride, the actress Willie Burke, dance with his brother.
Wow. I did know that one, but a majority of people don't know that.
I didn't know that. I learned that when I found it.
Amanda!
Okay, you're killing me, woman.
No, I'm giving you
You're
lots of
killing me,
practice.
woman.
I'm going to do this one.
You want to do this one? Okay,
wanna
you
do
do
that
this
one?
one.
When Georgia Native's REM
He likes
unleashed
the
their
big ones.
first top 10 single in
Ooh,
concert,
did I
The
say
One I Love. I love that song, The One I Love.
Yes, so
The
do I.
band's guitar slinger,
You'll like
Peter
this.
Buck, felt baffled by audiences' romantic reactions. I'd look into the audience and there would be couples kissing, Buck said, yet the verse is savagely anti-love. And people told me that was their song. This was your song. Singer Michael Stipe echoed Buck's emotions in a 1992 interview with Q magazine, admitting that he almost didn't even record the song, calling it too brutal and really violent and awful. After 5 years of The One I love the song, it's a great song, going out to loved ones as dedications over the radio waves. Stipe took a complacent stance on his song Misconstrued Fate and saying it's probably better that they think it's a love song at that point. And yeah, but I always liked that song. Great song.
It is, but unfortunately the meaning behind it and what people took it as when it came out
Yeah.
are two totally different things. And that's why he was having a difficult time navigating it in the way that people were listening to it.
Yeah.
Because it really wasn't a love song.
Okay, so for the next one.
Chuck Berry we already talked about. That was the one that
Okay.
that's the one that
So where are we?
there we go.
All right. In 1890, New Orleans police chief David Hennessy is gunned down in the first widely publicized mafia murder in the USA. The event is memorialized in the song The Hennessy Murder. Nice. Okay. And in 1964, British singer Screaming Lord Such
Yeah.
runs for the English Parliament. He goes on to lose 40 elections, mostly by elections.
Shocking. He was a character.
Might as well do the John Fogerty one.
Do John.
Okay, in 1969, John Fogerty is inspired to write Effigy after President Richard Nixon casually dismisses millions of protesters who show up worldwide for the moratorium to end the war in Vietnam. Effigy becomes the final track on Willie and the Poor Boys and is notable for being the long song on the album that is not upbeat.
It's the only song.
Lone song.
Yeah.
Lone song. Pardon me.
In 1971, Rick Nelson, formerly Ricky, of course, plays the Rock and Roll Spectacular concert at Madison Square Garden. When he plays some newer songs, the hit-hungry audience boos. Nelson writes the song Garden Party about the experience. It becomes a hit, reviving his career. So when he's singing the lyrics in Garden Party, he's reliving that awful night when he was booed for playing his new stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree with him. You know, if it's great to remember. Do you know how many top 40 hits Ricky Nelson had? I mean, the guy is just he's behind Fats. Like there's the Beatles, the Stones, Fats, Ricky Nelson, Elvis, of course, the Biggies. I mean, they had just incredible amounts of hits. 1973, the U.S. Supreme Court upholds a 7-2 vote. The 1971 FCC directed the band's radio DJs from playing songs that glorified drugs. Okay, in 1987, Joe Satriani's second full-length solo album, Surfing with the Alien, is released. The popular all-instrumental album kicks open the door for similarly styled guitar shred.
Satriani was well known for his shredding.
1988, go ahead.
No, keep going.
Oh, yeah,
I'll do the big one at the bottom.
You can do
I haven't done the big ones yet.
You haven't had any big ones, have you, lately? The UB40's
Listen to what he's telling people about me.
UB40's cover of Neil Diamond's Red Red Wine finally hits #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 over 4 years after its initial release. Lead singer Ali Campbell says that they always knew it was a reggae song and had no idea that Neil Diamond wrote it. Have you ever heard Neil's version? It's very slow and boring.
Well, it would be. Because Neil Diamond was not like UB40.
No.
They're like totally different.
No, but if you can imagine this song slowed down in another half.
I've heard it. Oh, I've heard it.
It's all right.
My dad, one of his, other than Roy Orbison, Neil Diamond and ABBA. I mean, there's other ones too, but those are the ones that really stick out for me from my dad. And he had everything Neil Diamond.
Here's a great one before I kick it back to you. 1995, Paul McCartney and his wife Linda appear on an episode of The Simpsons where they help Lisa become a vegetarian. Paul explains that if you play Maybe I'm Amazed backwards, you'll hear a recipe for lentil soup.
I love that, given the fact that everybody talked about how to turn the Beatles records back.
Exactly.
Right? So that was his point. Well, maybe if you do this, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was good.
In 1968, Paul's dead. That had to be the biggest promotion I've ever seen in my life.
Well, that's what a lot of what that was about, playing the records backwards, right? Yeah. You'll find out that
Paul's
he's actually dead. Yeah, crazy.
Lennon loved all the attention with that stuff.
Well,
I think he's the one
him
that
and Yoko all loved attention. Yoko especially loved the attention.
Because Paul McCartney is alive and well. Never died.
Not yet.
Some people still believe that he's dead, though.
Oh,
Some people believe that Elvis is flipping burgers in Kalamazoo as well.
You couldn't
probably eating most of them.
You couldn't duplicate Paul.
No, you couldn't.
No. That Paul that's out there right now is the real Paul. It's just all there is to it.
I don't know. There's all this junk they're talking about how tall he used to be, and all of a sudden he was this tall.
Well, don't we all shrink? I've known many people that actually shrink after about 50 or 60. Doesn't it slowly start on the decline at that point?
Yes.
So, yeah.
All
right. You just donated to your local pet shelter. Try this again. We get it. Sarah McLachlan's uplifting song, Angel, about finding solace at your lowest point through the comforting arms of an angel, is sweet message carried by McLachlan's heavenly voice and soothing piano tones. I love that song. As it turns out, the angel is heroin.
Oh.
To be specific, anything someone might use it to escape themselves at low points. McLachlan wrote the song following a brutal 2-year stint of touring and recording. She read a Rolling Stone article about the Smashing Pumpkins touring keyboardist Jonathan Melvoin overdosing on heroin and felt moved by his struggles with drug addiction.
Oh,
and that's what Angel is about. Yep. Before Neil Young joined Crosby, Stills, and Nash, the members reached out to George Harrison and Eric Clapton first to join the group.
Really?
Yep. And apparently they didn't join.
Wow.
They made some great music together, I'll tell you that. Neil Young is the one that plays the guitar riff in the beginning of the song Woodstock. That's immortal.
A lot of Crosby, Stills, Nash, even Nash and Young. Yeah. I love all their music.
All right, Mandy.
Okay, in 1959, ABC airs the Frank Sinatra Timex show.
Oh my God, are we that old? She doesn't know what Timex is. Oh my goodness. Do you know what Timex? I have to interrupt for a minute. You know what Timex is?
No.
Oh my goodness.
We're
It
old.
was we used to wear watches. They were called Timex, and there was
Okay.
clocks, and they were called Timex. Okay. There you go.
Wasn't there a Timex sign in Toronto when you drove on the highway?
Yeah,
Big
yeah. Oh
Timex.
God, it was everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're really showing our age. Okay then. Thanks, Mandy. Knew I could count on you for that.
Sorry, guys.
All right, done.
The first of 4 Timex sponsored TV specials hosted by the singer Bing Crosby, Dean Martin, and Mitzi Gaynor sang High Hopes with Frank to open the show.
Couldn't get any
Okay.
colder than Frank Sinatra.
Yeah.
No.
Do one more there.
Okay, in 1964, the incredibly influential English concert called the American Negro Blues Festival kicks off featuring Howlin' Wolf, Willie Dixon, Leighton Hopkins, and Sonny Roy Williamson.
Sonny Boy Williams.
Sonny Boy.
Sonny Boy. Okay. Eyes are getting tired here, people. No. Among others, it is the first glimpse of the bluesmen for many upcoming British R&B and rock legends.
But you have to remember, with Russ and I, when we see these, we don't actually have to read the letters and the words because we know who they are.
Yeah,
That's the difference. You don't. So it's
I don't.
It's a little easier for us, even if we miss the word, we know what they're called. So
Yeah, I don't.
young ones, right? Young ones.
Check my Timex here and
Can't believe you've never heard of time. Wow.
No.
I'm really starting to feel a little.
1968 at Liverpool University, Jimmy Page, Robert Plant, John Paul Jones, and John Bonham. You know who they are.
No idea.
Well, they perform as the New Yardbirds for the last time as they assume the moniker Led Zeppelin. And this week in 1970, working from a design sketch out by his wife and himself, Elvis Presley orders a dozen 14-karat gold pendants from a Beverly Hills jeweler featuring the letters TCB set around a lightning bolt, designed as totems for the Memphis Mafia and also for security issues. The symbol stands, in Elvis words, for taking care of business in a flash, and they would eventually come to symbolize the 70s era for Presley.
Those would be the
And
most
of
fun.
course, he had for breakfast, he had 5 banana splits for breakfast. That's what I heard.
Yeah, we've talked about that before. I don't know. I didn't know about it till you mentioned it, and it's no
5
wonder he gained weight.
5 banana splits.
One banana
every
split
morning
would
he
make me
had.
gain weight. 5 for breakfast?
No wonder he gained all that
Well, at
weight.
least he ate it at the right time of day. At least during early in the day, you've got more energy to burn.
Look at the sugar in that. 5.
Yeah.
5.
Yeah.
No, I couldn't do it.
I dream, as a little fat kid of getting something like that. But when you're in a little bit older, it's not good for
Your
you.
stomach usually shrinks too. But
1991, I'll do one more. In 1991, a gig in Texas, Nirvana's Kurt Cobain gets in a fight with a bouncer. While crowd surfing, the bouncer shoves him back in the crowd by the face, to which Cobain responds by driving the butt of his guitar into the bouncer's own mug. Barely back on his feet, Cobain gets a sucker punch to the back of the head before his bandmates jump in to help him out. So there
Can
you
you
go.
imagine?
Don't piss off Kurt Cobain.
well, I mean, he's playing. Like,
Yes.
He's crowd surfing, and the bouncer, I guess, didn't like him. Why else would he just up and?
Didn't the bouncer have any idea who he was?
Well, he was playing. I'm sure he had to know who was playing.
Yeah.
But anyways, some people each to their own, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
At its heart, one of Clash's most scathing political statement is less a song about the state of British politics and more a song about Joe Strummer's personal fear of drowning. In a dissection of London Calling, I like that song too. London Calling.
Yeah.
Yep, I heard that one.
Published by the Wall Street Journal, Mick Jones mentioned the band's nervousness regarding a 1979 London Evening Standard headline about the possibility of the Thames River overflowing and flooding London. How did the Clash react to the news? According to Jones, we flipped! That nagging fear of drowning propelled Strummer's first few drafts of the song lyrics, at least until Jones stepped in to broaden the scope until the song became this warning about the doom of everyday life. Jones joked about the band's sink or swim anxiety. We were a bit ahead of the global warming thing, weren't we?
Yeah, we certainly were. Is it you?
Okay.
Yeah.
The Beatles' White Album was originally called A Dollhouse. The working title was A Dollhouse, changed after UK progressive rock band Family released the similarly titled music in a doll's house earlier that year. So the album simply became The Beatles, or more commonly, the White Album, due to the all-white cover.
Why would they call it a dollhouse, I wonder? Well, I guess they have their own reasons. But I had no idea about that one either. I mean, I thought it was always the White Album. I thought it was just them making a statement. Hey, we're the Beatles. We're bigger than Jesus Christ, and we're just going to call it the White Album if we want to.
And the band Family, the actual front of their album is literally a picture of a dollhouse with whatever going on inside of each room. And they had it before the Beatles was to name theirs. So yeah.
All right, in 1955, Bill Haley, Pat Boone, and Elvis Presley all appear together in concert at a Cleveland high school. The concert is filmed for a documentary of Cleveland DJ Bill Randall, but is never released. I actually talked to that guy once, Bill Randall.
We're almost done.
Big radio guy. 1960, Roy Orbison had his first UK #1 single with Only the Lonely, and his first of 33 hits. The song was turned down by the Everly Brothers and Elvis Presley, so Orbison decided to record the song himself. That's his iconic song. That's my favorite Orbison song, Only the Lonely. If I had to pick one, that would be it.
Yeah.
And I met him. I talked to him for about 10-15 minutes.
Oh, cool.
When I worked for FM 108 at Lulu's in Kitchener, Ontario. God bless you.
I do remember that.
And I brought on a few people on stage, and the radio station was very involved with Lulu's, so I met Roy. And he was a very nice man, very quiet-spoken.
So they say.
Very quiet guy.
So they say.
Yeah.
All right, I'll do this one, and then you can do the last one.
That's right.
Awesome. 1977. In town for a gig with the police, bassist and lead singer Sting kills some time by walking through the red light district of Paris. Watching the ladies of the night ply their trade gives him the inspiration for what becomes the band's first hit, Roxanne.
Oh, yeah.
Sting wrote the song, and the inspiration for the song's title came from a character that is in the play Cyrano de Bergerac.
I know how to say that.
A play that was displayed on the poster in their hotel. The lyrics talk about a man, in a first-person perspective, who falls in love with a prostitute. The band had recorded their album in Surrey Sound Studios, in which they recorded a few tracks that were going to be used as B-sides. The band later showed the album to Miles Copeland, which is the brother of the drummer, Stuart Copeland, which he quite liked. When they started listening to Roxanne, the band thought he won't like that song, but it was quite the opposite. Copeland liked the song more than any other.
That's a great song, and that's the song that broke Roxanne. I remember I played it when it was a hit. I know, I'm old, right? But 1977.
Yeah, you're older than me, so yeah, you are.
So I was up in New Liskeard playing it or something on the Big 1240. I don't know. But when you hear a song, and then more come later, you think, oh, it's a one-hit wonder, and then all of a sudden, boom, they had like 15 or 20 more.
I'm not finished because
I know.
I have this one little bit.
Yeah.
And this is a fun fact, and it's actually kind of cool. The atonal piano chord and the laughter in the beginning of the track is actually Sting, whom accidentally sat on a piano key and started laughing when they were recording the parts for the song.
I didn't know.
So
that.
listen to it the next time you listen to it.
I didn't know that.
Huh.
He just
I
kind
didn't
of
know
hit
that
it, and they
either.
laughed, and that's it. And you hear it right in the beginning. Yeah.
Now that's a fact even I didn't know.
Yeah, kind of cool.
Okay. In 1978, the Police made their U.S. debut at CBGB.
Do you know who that is?
Yes, I do. That's in New York.
No, but you know what CBGB stands for, not where.
No.
CBGB is Country Bluegrass and Blues Bar.
Oh, wow. Now that I didn't know.
Now you know.
I had no idea that.
Oh, there you go. Now you know too. You hear a lot about CBGB when it was, yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. The trio had flown on low-cost tickets with Laker Air Train from the UK, carrying their instruments as hand luggage.
Well, they
On a budget.
They weren't big stars back then, you know?
Yeah.
They were on a budget.
I remember when Rod Stewart was hanging around with people in the early days, he would borrow $20 to put gas in his car, to get to a gig, and then look what happened to him. I mean, it's amazing when you look at the members of Led Zeppelin. All these musicians were starving, man. I mean, most musicians are. That's the way musicians are.
The only difference I find back then is that when they were found quickly, and they blew up. Yeah. Usually within a short time, as opposed to now, because it's just so vast. And technology and everything else.
You know where I'm wearing my fedora this week is for Burt Young, who died this week, 83.
I didn't know that.
Burt Young, if you look at his filmography, it really is amazing. It's like this long. I thought he was in a few movies, but he was in I'd say almost 100 movies.
Oh, wow.
He was in the Amityville 2 as well, but he was, of course, remembered for his Rocky. Paul and Rocky. But he was a real boxer, and he was 32 and 2 or something.
Cool.
And he was trained by the same guy that trained Rocky Marciano. So when you watch Rocky the next time, the real boxer in the movie is not Sylvester Stallone. It's Burt Young. Okay, and he played a great part in that. He was a great actor, and he died, and that's sad. They're dropping like flies.
They're all getting up there.
They're dropping like flies.
Unfortunately, it's.
We lost Suzanne Summers.
Just under a week ago, last Saturday or something, I think it was. Well, she had been battling cancer, I think, for some time at that point. Didn't she have breast cancer?
Yeah.
I didn't read anything, but I heard she passed.
But I remember her in American Graffiti when she was driving that T-Bird, and Richard Dreyfuss is looking out of the sidecar window, and she drives by in her T-Bird, and she mouths, "I love you." It just one of those moments in movie history.
There it
was.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
And she was I always had a crush on Suzanne Summers. She was great. And then, of course, she was on, what's the sitcom again?
The Three.
Three's Company.
There you go.
Yeah. I'm getting old. My mind's, sometimes.
That's okay. I just every now and then I'll just trigger you with a
word.
We're
doing it for time. We still got a few minutes here.
32.
Did you want to talk about anything? No?
No, this is my thing. That's my thing.
But there's a lot of trivia, and we'd like to thank everybody that watches the videos and keeps us busy, and we have a lot of fun talking about rock and roll. And the fact is that Lee and I do not read the scripts, and none of us do, because we want to be surprised by the story. Because we're all music fans, some younger than others, but we're all music fans. No, we are. And it's nice to find out, I had no idea about a few things this week that you blew my mind away with, But,
I've been looking for certain things to do with songs and whatnot that's kind of changing things up a little, so.
Yeah.
That's,
but Blackbird, that totally blew me away. The fact it was about something totally different.
Well, the one for Sarah McLachlan, for me, Angel, I didn't know about that. And when I found out it was actually about heroin versus something more uplifting, it was like, wow, okay. I had no idea about that one.
Well, John Lennon, used to write things in his lyrics just to piss off the media and twist things around.
I like that about him, though.
Yeah, but he liked to play games.
Push the envelope a little bit.
Yeah, push it a little bit more. Him and Jim Morrison were the two most famous for doing that.
Geez, yeah, but Jim Morrison was just doing what he does, what he wants to do.
That's right.
That was. But at least John, for the most part, John had motives for a lot of stuff that he did. I find.
Yeah.
He always had something, a goal he was to achieve with peace, meditations, whatever it was. In an era that he was doing what he was doing, him and Yoko and just him. But Morrison was just a wild card, period. He was always drunk or something, and he'd get on stage and
piss off the police.
Pull his parts out right on stage in front of crowds of people. I mean, even Madonna wasn't that bad.
No. But it's fun talking about the music industry. And,
it is.
And things that go on in the music business. And the Top 40 Timeline radio show is heard around the world, folks. You can hear me every week with my drop-in characters. We have got a few moments here. We'll introduce about a minute. So I'll just say we'd like to say hi to Bud the Spud on a Stick, Peter the piano player with a polyester tie.
You met Bud?
You
don't want to.
All of my Foster the Moose, all of my characters.
Foster's okay.
You like Foster.
Yeah,
I said Foster's. You listen to me on Party Dog, don't you?
Yes, I do.
I know you're listening to me on
Foster's
Party Dog.
okay. It's that Bud thing that.
Bud the Spud on a Stick. He brings me all my stories.
Mm-hmm.
He does.
I never liked
Little fella. He doesn't like hanging around chip trucks though. Gets a little nervous.
Go
You know what I
figure.
mean? We'll see you next week. This week's show is brought to you by Radio 425, and that is in Windsor, Detroit. And the Top 40 Timeline and the Big 20 are both heard on that wonderful radio station. Thank you for tuning us in around the world on whatever station you have, and around on our YouTube channel, which is HaltonHillsOnline.com, right? That's how you find us, right there. So, you have a great week. Am I
You
supposed to
too.
say anything about the world or anything? That's something.
So we didn't do that in the last one. We're
No, we
all
didn't.
And
we're
we
all
don't have-
asleep for that
And
one.
we don't
But
have the chimes either, do we?
No.
So we'll just say. There you go. I'll just say until next week.
no noise. It was just silent.
Assume the position.
No, uniting community worldwide. I think is what we should do first.
Okay, we'll do it then.
I just did.
Okay. Can we assume the position now? Let me start again. Let me go through the swishing doors. Hang on a minute. Shh, shh.
I think the chimes are just on his head.
Assume the position.
Ding, ding, ding. There we go.